What's going on, guys? Very last training here. We're going to rip through 3 different topics that I'm condensing together just because they're pretty logical, but they're super important because there's a lot of literature supporting this. Okay. So staying consistent, okay, you guys probably have heard, oh, yeah, like consistency is super key. But here's the thing, consistency can be hard if the thing that you're doing is very restrictive, right? Imagine this. Hey, Dex, you know what I want you to do is for part of your training, you're going to run 30 kilometers every single day. Okay. When you get home, you're going to have, um, you know, 20 glasses of water, right? You're not going to drink, you're not going to eat anything until about 7 p.m. And at 7 p.m., what you're going to do is you're going to be basically, you can have one piece of chicken. Okay. And you're just going to do this for like the rest of your life. I'm gonna be like, bro, hell no. I ain't doing that shit. Like, I don't care how straight I'm gonna be, like, or how much money you give me. Like, that's not living, right? So when people are like, hey, I can't find something consistent, I can't stay consistent. Well, probably what's happening is the thing that you're currently doing is just not sustainable. It's not. And when people say sustainable, it just means it's not reflective to your lifestyle. So everything I do here, everything I'm teaching you guys, it's true. But in order for you to get consistent progress and consistently do it for a long period of time, it needs to be specific to you. It needs to be tailored to your goals. It needs to be for you. So give me an example, guys. Going back to like training. So I get this question all the time where it's like, Dex, I've been training for X amount of time. I'm going to these group workout classes all the time, and they're making me do a bunch of burpees. I'm training my ass off. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what is your goal? What are you trying to solve here? Okay, well, my main mission is I want to lose weight. Well, given like for instance, if we actually go all the way up to here, the total daily expenditure, if your mission is to lose weight and you know that the RMR accounts for 50 to 70% of your total calorie expenditure, right? You doing like the 5 to 15% is not going to really do anything, right? And the type of training that you're doing, it's very high intensity workout, which is really, really important, right? But what I would rather get my clients doing is how can you facilitate more growth in this area? Well, that's going to be going through a muscle building routine. It's getting you a calorie deficit. It's understanding how to build this arm up. And the more you can build this RMR up, this is where you're basically, investing into yourself. And I live in Vancouver right now, guys. And so real estate here is crazy expensive. And so I like to think of kind of like the RMR as if you're buying a house in, it might not be the best example, you're buying a house in like Vancouver, like proper. Okay. And over time, you're just continuously investing into real estate here. Well, guess what? Boom. It's like chicken taken off like the past few years. And so this here is kind of like trading stocks, right? You're just like doing some day trades here and there where potentially you could get like some big paydays here and there. You drop like 3 pounds, but it's probably a lot of water weight. Whereas what I prefer to do and what my clients, I want get my clients to do is focus on the RMR, investing into yourself for your future self. And when you can do that, that's how you're able to stay consistent. So consistency is really, really important here. And so in order for you to get consistent progress, you need to first understand what your lifestyle looks like. What is your main goal? What is the purpose? And reverse engineering that process so that you can get to your goal and then create a plan towards getting there and sustaining that long term. So it's about modifying your activities, your lifestyle, understand what type of foods that you eat when you travel, because traveling is part of your life, especially for some clients that we work with. They travel like 3 weeks out of the month. So if you're like, hey, Dax, like all I'm going to eat is like chicken breast and salad, like first off, you're not going to be able to entertain clients by doing that. You're going to live a very sad, boring life, which, some people are okay with that because they, for me, I'm not like, I want to go on date nights. I want to eat like Italian food all the time with my wife and want to drink wine here and there. It's great. It makes me feel very, very good. So I want to be able to enjoy life and have abs at the same time. And in order for you to do that, you need to have a plan in place. You need to identify what your goals are and reverse engineer that process and then get to your goal and then sustain that. So losing, 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds of fat is completely different to maintaining it. Maintaining is so much easier, guys. Losing fat, losing weight is the hard part. But here's the thing, people just focus so much on losing weight. And if you just lose weight, as I kind of mentioned, you can literally lose 30, 40 pounds, but just not look happy in the mirror because you're just losing a ton of muscle, which is going to literally get this RMR thing. Like this one's going to go down. Like when you lose muscle mass, which is the thing that's going to increase your RMR, this starts to depreciate. So while you're losing a lot of weight, the thing that's going to help you long-term, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So when we talk about consistency and actually like how you can actually get there, it needs to be a plan that's specific for you. Okay, so consistency is the secret to long-term success, and it's not about perfection, guys. It's about making things sustainable and specific for you, small changes that compound over time, building muscle, and regular tracking your progress to ensure you're on the right process or path so that you can actually make adjustment accordingly. In fact, there's like some literature that supports that. If you just weigh yourself every single day, you're able to course correct when things get too bad. So people who weigh themselves versus people who don't weigh themselves, people who weigh themselves are going to lose more weight simply because you're tracking. If you're not measuring, if you're literally not measuring, you're not able to identify what's actually happening going forward. And then you're going in blind, which to me, if I had to do something and I don't know what I'm measuring, what the metrics are, or how I'm going to get to my goal, I'd feel a lot of anxiety because I'd be like, I don't even know if this is the right thing, right? So why is consistency so critical for fat loss? Well, small efforts add up. Fat loss is literally a marathon, guys. Like, you're not just going to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds and then like you just give up, right? It's like, how healthy can you be over a long period of time? And consistently eating in a calorie deficit and sticking to your workout routine will gradually lead to fat loss over time until you hit metabolic adaptation. And this, obviously, if you can stay consistent, prevents yo-yo dieting, and crash diets might show really quick results, right? But it can be really unsustainable, such as like, these 5-day fasts or these juice cleansing or whatever it is. The key here is you need to build long-lasting habits that prevent the cycle of losing and regaining weight. Number 3, allow for adjustments. So consistently tracking your progress will allow you to spot plateaus. Plateaus are pretty important early on. And so if your progress stalls, you can then make the necessary changes to increase your calorie intake, build more muscle mass, pivot, understand what's happening for your metabolic adaptation, and create a plan accordingly. Okay. So how do you actually stay consistent? How can you stay consistent and measure progress? Well, track your food. That's one way. You can use MyFitnessPal, right? So by logging your fuels, you can actually start to understand like what is your resting metabolic rates going to be like, how much food do you need to eat to be in a calorie deficit, and then from there you can start to make better choices so that if you're losing weight 1 pound a week, you can just keep doing that until you start to lose a little bit less weight. Then you can drop your calories or increase your muscle mass, and so forth. Step number 2, weigh yourself every single week. You can do this daily if you like, because the daily weigh-ins, obviously there's some water. And so we personally like to look at the weight that trends week to week. That's the most important thing, because you can literally, like some UFC fighters can lose 15 pounds in like a single day. It's crazy, right? We can take body measurements because more data is the better. We typically like to use the waist, right? And we use progress photo because our main mission here is our clients, they typically don't care so much about the weight. They care more about like how they look. So if you basically just gained like 3 pounds of muscle and you lost like 3 pounds of fat, but now you just have like freaking bricks for abs, our clients are okay with that. And so we use progress photos to actually look at the progress over time. So final thoughts around consistency. Obviously, you need to make sure this process is your journey, right? So you need to find a program that works for you. You need to have something that works best for your lifestyle. And the best way of doing that is actually getting an understanding of your lifestyle and creating a routine specific around that so that you can actually stay consistent long term. So stress is really, really, really important for fat loss. We're going to dive into this for the next video because I'm going to get a sip of water first.